This transmission is titled Shifting Reality. And we will begin by describing a little experiment that you can do to help you lock in the idea of how you are shifting through different parallel realities billions of times a second, how you can allow yourself to feel the impact of this and experience more conscious awareness of those shifts. Now, this little science experiment can be done in a couple of different ways. And you may have seen this before. Nevertheless, it is a valuable little experiment, a valuable illustration that can have a very interesting effect on your ability to perceive that you are shifting through different realities many times a second. One way of doing this little science experiment is to obtain a strobe light that is variable. In other words, you can change the rate at which it flashes from slower to faster. And then what you do is turn on a little trickle of water out of one of your taps and allow this to happen in a dark or dim room, and turn on the strobe light and aim the light at the trickle of water coming out of your tap until such time as you reach a frequency of strobe that matches the frequency at which the water is falling from the tap, so that the effect that you achieve is to see individual drops of water frozen in midair as if the water is not moving at all. Now, another way to do this is to have a little motor, again, that you can vary the speed of, and you can create a little paper or cardboard disc divided into 8 pie sections. Color in 4 of the pie sections black, leave 4 of the pie sections white. Attach this disc to the center of the shaft of the motor, turn the motor on, and achieve a rotational speed, varying it until you can start to see the black spokes appear to no longer be turning, but again, freezing as if they are standing still. You have seen this effect many times in the spokes of wheels. You have seen it in some of your vehicles driving by, even sometimes to the point where the frequency is such that the spokes look like they're moving backwards to the motion of the vehicle. But for this experiment, and again, you can do this with the strobe light as well as the motor, but for those individuals who may find it difficult to use the strobe lights because of a condition that you may have neurologically that prevents you from witnessing strobe lights, you can do it with the spinning motor as well. Either will work. The idea is, once you have achieved the frequency rate of either the motor or the strobe light so that the trickle of water or the spinning wheel looks like it is no longer moving, looks like it is frozen in time, frozen in space. Allow yourself then to meditate on that image, to stare at that image. The trickle of water may be in some ways slightly more impactful because it is a 3-dimensional image. The spinning wheel will work, but the idea again is to change the frequency rate of the motor or the strobe light so that it looks like it's not moving. Now, when you stare at it, when you meditate on it for a good 15 of your minutes, something will start to happen. Your brain will know, your consciousness will know that the water or the wheel is actually moving, but your eyes attached to your brain, and actually an extension of your brain, will see the image as if it is frozen. These two seemingly contradictory levels of awareness, that something is moving and yet appears to be not moving, will set up a state of being in your mind, if you do this for about 15 minutes, that will allow you to start being capable of perceiving certain changes taking place afterward in your physical reality. It may not always occur, it may not occur right away. But the idea is that in creating this apparently contradictory awareness of something that is moving yet appears not to be moving, can allow you to start being able to perceive your physical reality in space and time as being more flexible, more malleable. It can even sometimes achieve the effect of seeing something in your physical reality that is in motion start to freeze or slow down. For example, you may witness a bird in flight and suddenly recognize that it seems to be going more slowly than it otherwise would, or it might seem to actually freeze in midair. You may start to see some flickerings in your physical reality as if it is turning on and off very quickly. Again, these effects may or may not occur, but the idea is that when you know that what you are perceiving in your physical reality as motion is an illusion, that you are simply shifting through frozen frames billions of times a second, and you have reconciled this apparent contradiction by doing this little science experiment to the point where you get used to understanding, where your brain starts to get used to perceiving and knowing that moving things can also appear frozen, then you can start to apply this. You can start to see the effect of this at times in your physical reality to a great degree or a lesser degree. The idea is to get a handle on the fact that you are creating your physical reality as a projection, that you can learn to kind of control the idea of what it is you are perceiving in ways that will allow you to fundamentally be aware of the fact that you are creating this within your consciousness, that you yourself are the strobe light, that you yourself are the spinning motor, and that over time, with practice, you can gain control over this and be able to reconcile this apparent contradiction of motion and lack of motion in a way that will allow you more conscious control over the manifestations that you create in your physical reality, over space and time in your physical reality, in such a manner as to allow you to truly experience, truly perceive that it is your creation, that it is your projection. It can unlock you in many ways from the idea of linear time and allow you to experience yourself in a much more multidimensional way. Because when you can create this effect of seeing your reality physically, changing its pace, changing the rate at which you are perceiving it, because you are starting to match the frequency at which you are creating it, this gives you an opportunity not only to create more control in manifesting the idea of what you perceive to be your own physical reality, but it also allows you to start breaking down the barriers, piercing the veil between your reality and parallel realities, which can exist in between the moments that you perceive your reality to be existing. So this little science experiment may be very simple, with the strobe light in the water, or the strobe light in the spinning wheel, or the motor in the spinning wheel, whichever works for you. But meditating on that frozen image while knowing that something is actually moving for about 15 minutes each day can start to allow you to experience the effects that we are talking about and begin to allow your awareness to grow and your awareness to grasp the actual fact that you are generating your reality from billions of frozen frames to create the illusion of space, time, change, and movement. So, take advantage of this little science experiment that can have profound effects in your ability to recognize that you are the creator and projector of everything you experience in your physical reality. Have fun with this. Stay with it if you wish. And allow yourself to play with it. Allow yourself to use your imagination and creativity with this. And you may see, if nothing else, that it may allow synchronicity to start to really expand and bloom in your life in many different ways. You will start to see the structure of existence, the underlying template of your physical reality made out of patterns within your consciousness. Many different side effects can occur from this. Allow yourself to know that you will still be able to function in your physical reality, because again, this will also give you the ability to call forth this ability to perceive in this way at will. You can turn it on and off over time when you are really practiced with this in such a way that you can still live your normal life, but there may be times then when, having practiced this for a while, you'll be able to call it forth at will when you need to in a meditative state to be able to reconnect and reassure yourself that you are actually projecting what you experience to be your physical reality apparently outside of yourself. And again, this will teach you that it is actually occurring from within. And many different effects can come from that awareness and that recognition. So, this little science experiment of shifting reality is a fun game for you to play to get a handle on your ability to manifest. We thank you for allowing us to share this idea with you this day of your time. This is one of the steps in the Interstellar Alliance social experiment.
Your time. How are you all? All right. We thank you for the opportunity once again to interact with each and every and all of you. Each and every time your civilization allows our civilization to interact with you in this way, it gives us an opportunity to experience through all of you, collectively, and each of you individually, another aspect, another facet of the multidimensional crystal of creation. So we thank you for this gift of sharing that forms a link and a bridge between our respective realities and co-creates with us a new third reality in which we can vibrationally interact more closely, more strongly each and every day. To begin this transmission, we would like to recognize the idea that many of you have requested more information about the process of acceleration in your transformation. And so we would like to address that subject with the title Slipstream, to allow you to become much more superconductive, much more hyperconductive of the energy that you are, flowing through your being, flowing through your body, flowing through your consciousness, so that you can, as you say, gain a handle on how to allow this energy to serve you best in the most conscious way possible. What is acceleration of energy? What is the transformation? What is actually happening in the idea you call the transformation on your planet at this time? Well, thank you for asking. I will answer. The idea of transformation really is more awareness of more of yourself, more of who and what you actually are already. Because you're not really so much becoming something as you are remembering what you already are, awakening to what you already were created to be. So this entire process of transformation, this entire process of acceleration is all about gaining more and more aptitude, more and more awareness, more and more ability to perceive more of the being you are already created to be. And in that process, thus then being more capable of actually applying more of your awareness, more of your energy, more of your consciousness to your physical reality experience in such a manner so as to allow your physical reality to reflect back to you those changes going on within you in a positive and constructive and expansive and integrative way. Now, we wish to clarify a few ideas that we have perceived exist within many of the people on your planet with regard to these ideas, with regard to these processes, with regard to, most specifically, the definitions that go with these processes. We have heard many of your people talk about the idea of wanting to learn how to shift, wanting to learn how to change. And again, I remind you, it isn't really about learning how to shift, learning how to change. It is becoming more aware of the fact that you are already shifting and you're already changing. The idea we have also heard from many of you is that you want to let go of doubt and you want to learn to trust more and more and more in your true self. And again, I remind you, it isn't about learning how to trust. It is about learning what to trust in. Because the idea is that shifting, changing, trusting are all automatic functions of your existence. You cannot help but shift. You cannot help but change. You cannot help but trust. Oh, but Bashar, I have doubts. Yes, I know. But doubt is not a lack of trust. Doubt is a 100% trust in a definition that is out of alignment with your truth. There's a difference. You are never, ever, 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 not for a moment, not trusting something to be true. The question, therefore, is not, how do I learn to trust? The question is, how do I allow myself to trust what I want to trust in, instead of trusting what I don't prefer? That's the issue. You don't have to learn how to trust. You don't have to learn how to change. You don't have to learn how to shift. You do it automatically. It's built into you as a mechanism of creation because you are co-creators with all that is. So let go of the idea that this has to be difficult, that you have to learn something difficult, that you have to learn to do something you don't know how to do. You're already doing these things. You do them as absolutely automatically, so automatically, you don't even know you're doing them. That's the issue. So we remind you now that you know how to do all this changing and shifting and trusting. You do it all the time. What we will now work together with you on is examining the idea of having more conscious awareness of the fact that you're already shifting, and thus then you can apply your focus to shift in the way you prefer. You can apply your focus to change in the way you prefer. You can apply your focus to trust what you wish to trust in, what you prefer to trust in. But now that you know you don't have to learn to change, learn to shift, and learn to trust, it lightens up the load. You don't have so much to do. It's all on automatic, and all you have to do is direct, slightly and subtly and most profoundly direct the course of those changes and shifts and trusts. And how do you do that? Thank you, I'll tell you. The idea, again, is to become more aware, much, much more aware of the definitions in your life so that you are not hampering yourself, so that you are not impeding yourself with a definition in your consciousness that doesn't work for you. Many times on your planet, being brought up with certain ideas, certain belief systems in society, and from your parents, you are spoon-fed, along with your baby food, a diet of ideas without even knowing it. Your parents telepathically no fault of their own, because this is what they learned from their parents and their societies, will automatically spoon feed you telepathically with certain ideas they hold to be true. The idea thus then is that when you are a child, you don't really know that you are on a double diet of food and ideas. But when you grow up and ostensibly, supposedly become adults, the idea thus then is that when you are now expected to be on your own, you suddenly start regurgitating all these ideas. You suddenly discover all the ideas you were spoon-fed as a child and now have to deal with, and now have to discover that some of them don't go down lightly because they don't belong to you. They're not digestible by you. They are ideas that may or may not have worked for your parents or other members of your society, but by being generally spoon-fed this entire array of ideas, you will now be expected, in a sense, as an adult, to figure out which one of these ideas works and which you wish to continue to incorporate in your being, and what ideas do not work for you and which you are willing to let go of. But first you have to find out what they are, because these ideas were spoon-fed to you at a level and at an age where they are primarily unconscious within you. Thus then, that's why you suddenly discover as you set out on your lives that you may run into what you call impediments or obstacles. But these are really just opportunities to discover ideas that exist within your unconscious mind and bring them into conscious realization so that you can, in fact, deal with them and decide whether you prefer to keep them. And if you do, thus then allow yourself to integrate them consciously within your mind. And if you decide not to keep them, to figure out how to let them go and replace them with ideas that you prefer to define yourself as a person you prefer to be. For example, we have used this many times. We will use it now just as an illustration of what we are talking about. Again, some of these ideas, some of these definitions are so inherently in your unconscious mind, you may automatically assume that there is no other way to define certain things in life. And therein becomes the sticking point, because it seems natural and automatic to define things in a certain way, when in fact, absolutely nothing in physical reality has an automatic definition. Everything in physical reality is fundamentally neutral and has absolutely no built-in meaning whatsoever. The greatest gift you have been given by creation, and I know this will sound funny to your ears, is that life is meaningless. What that means is you decide what things mean, and the meaning you give to something, no matter what the situation is what absolutely and utterly determines the effect that that situation has in your life, because that situation does not come with meaning built in automatically, although it may seem sometimes to be so. Because you're so automatically and unconsciously supplying a meaning to a circumstance, to a situation, that you think it just automatically must mean this, when in fact you have supplied the meaning unconsciously and thus gotten a reflection back of the fact that you have supplied that meaning, and the reflection comes bouncing back so fast that you think it's actually inherent in the situation, when in fact it's nothing but a reflection back to you. So the idea is, again, by illustration, for example, the term in your reality, habit, pattern. Many of you, when you speak to us, go, well, I'm having difficulty changing this in my life because, well, it's a habit. All right. Now define a habit. A habit is something I have difficulty changing. No. Define a habit. Our definition is a habit is something you do that you don't know you're doing. But when you know you're doing it, it's not a habit anymore, it's a choice. The idea is similar to your forest and the tree analogy. When you see the individual trees, you are in the forest. But the only way for you to actually see the whole forest is to actually be outside the forest. The only way you can see the whole forest is to no longer be in it. Thus then, a habit, being something that you don't know you're doing, once you know you're doing it, you don't have it anymore. You're outside the habit, you're beyond the habit, you've actually let go of the habit in order to consciously recognize you had it. But because of the definitions that exist in your society that say, oh, all right, now you recognize you have a habit. Now what kind of a process do I have to go through to get rid of it, to change it? Well, you see, from our point of view, in our definition, recognizing that a habit is something you do you don't know you're doing, once you know you're doing it, if you understand that the only way to know you had the habit is to already have let it go, to be outside of it, to no longer have it, then the process is done. In other words, the recognition that you had the habit is the end of the process, not the beginning. Yeah. But the idea is that if you then keep continuing to do things you say you don't prefer to do, what does that tell you? Well, as we said, it's a choice. So now the question would be, why would I choose to keep doing something that I say I don't prefer to do? Very good question. Let me explain the idea once again of the mechanism of motivation. Because I will tell you this, you only have one mechanism of motivation for everything that you do. Yes, only one, no exceptions, no, not even you. The idea is that always, unerringly, and automatically, and immediately, and I mean immediately, instantaneously, you will always choose something in the direction that you define as positive for you. You will always move away from something you define as negative for you. And therein, as you say in your language, lies the rub. What you define as positive, what you define as negative. But you say, Bashar, I am defining this as negative, so why do I keep choosing it? Aha, says Bashar, look at the motivational mechanism and you will find out that if you keep choosing something that you intellectually know is not what you prefer, the only reason you would keep choosing it is that because you are unconsciously defining that thing as more positive than the alternative. Find out what the alternative is and why you would have attached a definition to it that actually makes the alternative you say is positive appear or feel more negative than the thing you say you don't prefer. For example, again, by illustration again, many people on your planet are raised with the idea of many contradictory belief systems. For example, issues that have to do with abundance and, in your world, money. You are raised with the idea that if you're going to be successful, you have to have a lot of money. At the same time, you are raised with the belief system that love of money is the root of all evil. How do you reconcile these two ideas? But the point is that these two ideas are now linked in your unconscious mind. So the idea is that if you find that being successful now rattles the cage of this belief and says, but if I'm successful, that means I'm going to be a bad person. And it's really much more important for me to never be a bad person than it is to have money. So I will do everything in my power to avoid having money. As long as those belief systems are linked together, that's how you will operate. The idea is to recognize, to identify, to define those beliefs and recognize you have them. So that in recognizing you have them, in identifying them, you can recognize that they make no sense to hold on to them. They don't belong to you. And by recognizing and identifying them, you can realize you have now let them go. You've disassociated, you've delinked those ideas. And you can now begin to behave differently with the recognition, well, of course I can be successful and not be a bad person. I don't have to believe that being successful means I have to be a bad person. So now that I have delinked those contradictory belief systems, those contradictory definitions, I can now replace it with a new idea of what it means to be abundant and successful. And I can now apply these ideas in my behavior and my thoughts, words, and deeds in life in a new way that will allow physical reality to reflect this to me. Herein lies another idea that many of you come across that you don't quite have a handle on yet, and that is the idea of the outside reality reflection not necessarily always changing to reflect what you think it should, according to the change you think you made within yourself. How many of you have experienced that? Yes. Well, I've made these changes. Why isn't that changing? Why isn't that any different? How come I don't have that yet? Why can't I attract this to me? I've made the change within my belief. I know I have. Why am I not seeing the outer reality change? The answer, because you're waiting for the outer reality to change. The idea is really this. You must understand something very clearly. Physical reality doesn't really exist. It's an illusion. The experience of it is real, but the actual physical reality is nothing but a reflection in the same way you have a reflection in a glass mirror. If you notice that the reflection in the mirror is frowning, you don't go over to the mirror and try to force a smile on the reflection's face. The only way to get the reflection to smile is for you to smile first, then the reflection will have no choice really but to smile back. The idea thus then is that what many of you do is you go, well, yes, all right, I'll smile, but only if I see the smile in the reflection. So what you've just done is made the reflection now conditional. And by doing that, you haven't actually smiled. You've put a condition on your happiness. I will not be happy till I see the reflection, till I'm guaranteed to see the reflection smile back. And I will just stand here and wait. And I will not smile until I know for a fact that the reflection will smile back to me. So why am I not seeing the reflection smile? I don't get it, I don't get it, I don't get it. All right. Remember this. The experience of physical reality includes the idea of what you call space-time. So you have the experience of time lags. It takes a little while in terms of a space-time experience for something to come into manifestation sometimes. Not always, but sometimes. Thus, then, it depends upon the reason why it's being created, other belief systems you may have within you that you haven't become aware of or dealt with or integrated yet, and many other factors. So the way you go about this, without having to understand intellectually what all those factors are, is just to realize that the idea is not about whether the outer reality changes or not to let you know you've changed. The idea is if you know you've changed, then you will respond differently to the outer reality, even if it still looks the same. That's your proof you've changed. That you're not reacting the same way to an outer reality, even if it looks the same as it did before. Now you're proving to creation that you've changed because you have a different response and you are getting a different effect out of the very same circumstance that you got a negative effect out of before. You're showing creation that everything serves double duty and you know it. You're proving to creation that you know you can extract a positive energy out of the very same circumstance that before gave you a negative experience. By responding differently to the very same situation, you are proving that you have really changed, and once you prove you've really changed, then the reflection can change. But many times you'll test yourself. And again, you will say, oh, I've really changed, I've really changed, I've really changed, but I'm waiting for that outer reality to change. And as long as you determine the degree to which you've changed by what you do or don't see in the outer reality, you have not changed. Make sense? All right. You see how you create these little cycles for yourself, these little, as you say, catch-22s for yourself. Allow us to clarify these ideas and clarify them for yourself. This is all part and parcel of the idea of acceleration and of handling the transformation in a clear and conscious way. Allowing yourself to know that you are shifting. And let's talk a little bit about the idea of shifting. Because you're shifting, well, really? You're shifting all the time. You're never really not shifting. Here's the clue. You've all talked about the idea, you've all heard about the idea to some degree of what you now recognize in your society as parallel realities. You even have movies about them now. You even have books about them now. You even have television shows about parallel realities now. It is finally leaked into your understanding to a degree where you're actually being able to use these concepts in your entertainment. So you all basically understand the concept, at least on some level, in some way, of parallel realities. Something that may or may not be similar to your own reality, time tracked, may be different in a subtle way, may be different in a very profound way, but is going on alongside, in a sense, your reality at the very same time. All parallel realities coexist simultaneously. That means all lives coexist simultaneously, and what you call the past and what you call the future, in a sense, is just another parallel reality track going on simultaneously that for the purposes of convenience in a space-time reality, you choose to define as past. You choose to define as future. But that's just your definition. It doesn't mean that there actually is a future or a past. All realities coexist right here, right now, because there is only here and now. Look around. Anytime you wonder what time it is, it's always now. There is no then, there is no when. It's always now. Always will be. Always has been, so to speak. What you call, what you experience as different moments is actually the same one moment, the same one eternal moment from a different point of view. That's what you experience that you call different moments in the space-time linear framework illusion. But knowing that what you're actually doing is seeing exactly the same eternal infinite moment from a different point of view tells you that every single little change, every single little shift is nothing but a different point of view of the same existence, the same eternal now. And thus, you can realize that in order to experience movement at all, you actually must be shifting your perspective and shifting from parallel reality to parallel reality, moment to 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 moment. That's what the moments are, is shifting your perspective of that eternal moment that contains everything. So, in reality, you're already shifting through billions, literally billions of parallel realities every second in order to even have the illusion you call movement in physical reality. Because each and every parallel reality is by itself unmoving. It's like a still photo. It doesn't move. It's just a description of a position relative to other things. This is one whole parallel reality. This is another, and 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 another. Much like your frames of animation, much like your frames of film. The idea is that you're shifting already through billions of parallel realities a second, but you don't know it, because each parallel reality you are choosing to shift to is so similar to the last one you existed in that you don't notice that you are an entirely different universal parallel reality. Now, if you can allow yourselves to wrap your mind around the fact that at every moment you're actually shifting through billions of absolutely different, discrete, parallel realities, now you can take a step back and go, oh my goodness. The idea of how to know you're doing that is to create a greater degree of difference in the next parallel reality you shift to, so you'll recognize that you've already been shifting all the time. The way you notice that you're shifting is to create a greater degree of difference between the subsequent parallel realities. And the greater degree of difference you can create with your ability to redefine what your preferred reality will be, the greater shifting you will be aware of, the greater ability you will have to perceive the shifts that are going on automatically all the time in a seemingly smooth and continuous fashion. But that continuity is an illusion. So if you're willing to really truly start redefining your reality, the reality you prefer, by following your excitement, by acting on it, your true vibration, by being who you really know you are in a bold and applicable way in your experience of physical reality, the greater and greater and greater shifts you will be able to perceive in your reality, the bigger leaps you will take from one parallel reality to the next in terms of how you define them, and the greater the comparison difference will be between the two, and then you will know, really perceive, really experience that you are truly shifting in a superconductive and hyperconductive way. You are truly flowing through a slipstream of energy of your own consciousness and becoming more and more aware that you're already doing all the things you actually desire to do. It's just that now you need more ability to become more aware of that fact rather than learning anything new. Make sense? All right. So, we will let all of that sink in. Absorb it at your own rate. It is all in there. Just take it in at whatever rate your belief systems will allow you to, and I guarantee you that when you begin to truly, consciously, and intentionally apply what we have just talked about and come up with these realizations and allow them to click in your psychology, you will start to see time and space become far more plastic, far more malleable. Synchronicity will start to amplify and magnify, and you will find that you're able to allow time and space to become very, very slippery, so that magical things can happen very easily, very effortlessly, whereas heretofore it seemed to take too much effort. Let go of the idea that you need effort to learn to do new processes. You are already a flawless creation machine. You already automatically shift through billions of parallel realities every second. You are expanding faster than the speed of light. But the speed of light is just your illusionary barrier to the experience of space-time reality. But you yourself, your consciousness itself, expands more rapidly, way more rapidly, than the idea you call the speed of light, which compared to the idea of infinite consciousness is very, very slow. So, let all this begin to sink in at whatever rate, in whatever way you need to. If you wish to listen to the recording again a few times, it's up to you. If you think you've got it, that's fine. Just let it sink in and let it reveal itself to you at whatever rate your belief system is comfortable in becoming aware of these ideas, and use them as you wish. Use them as you desire. Use them as you prefer. They are tools that you can apply in your physical reality. These awarenesses are tools you can apply in your physical reality and get an effect. Remember, what you in your reality have now more recently called the law of attraction, what we in our reality call the third law, is what you put out is what you get back. It's as simple as that, but simply remember that what you're getting back is nothing but a reflection. You are the prime cause in your life. Nothing else controls you. Nothing else can. Nothing else has the power to. Only by your agreement can you be affected by anything anyone else offers you, be it positive or negative. Only by your agreement. Whether it be unconscious or conscious, only by your agreement can you co-experience anything similar to what another individual is choosing to experience. So it's completely in your hands. It's completely up to you. You are completely self-empowered beings. Therefore, all of this simply comes to you by way of information that works for us in our reality that we know can work for you in your reality, but it's up to you to decide whether or not you prefer to take it in and use it in that way. If you do not, it's up to you. Because we love you unconditionally and must allow you to decide what is true for you. Did we put conditions upon that, we would not love you unconditionally. One more definition, many people in your society would benefit from looking up, is the word unconditional. Because many times people on your planet will say, well, yes, I love you unconditionally except for this one condition. Thus, then, they do not understand the meaning of the word unconditional. Now, once again, in return for the gift that you are giving us, in allowing us the opportunity to interact with you in this way on this day, I ask, how may we be of further service to you through your questions and answers and dialogue? How are you all? Once again, we take this opportunity to thank each and every one of you, first of all, for allowing this transmission to occur in this manner and through this particular window on this day of your time. Each and every time you allow such a transmission to be conducted, a link is formed, a bridge is built between our respective realities, and we get to experience, through our interactions with each and every one of you, more and more perspectives, more and more facets, more and more aspects of the infinite, and more points of view of creation. And this expands our understanding of all that creation can be. And so we thank you for this gift of sharing. We would like to begin this transmission with the following idea. We would like to remind each and every one of you, individually and collectively, all together, about an idea that we will call learning the difference between falling into the illusion of power, the difference between that and learning to use the power of the illusion. Many individuals on your planet for quite some time have fallen under the illusion of power, thinking that power exists in the outside world and must be, in a sense, harvested, must be attained, achieved, that things, circumstances, situations, even people, must be somehow manipulated, controlled, brought into the position that you desire them to be brought into in order to achieve a certain thing. Many individuals have fallen under this illusion of power, and of course the result has been a great deal of strife, separation, segregation, pain, suffering, and so forth. But now, many individuals are beginning to awaken from the illusion of power and are beginning to be able to actually use the power of the illusion. They are beginning to understand that physical reality doesn't really exist outside you, that you are physical reality, it exists within you, that the power of the illusion is in learning that it is, in a sense, an illusion, learning that that's what reality is, and in learning that it is manufactured, in a sense, within you, learning the means by which this is done, learning the means by which you can change it internally by changing yourself, and understanding that as you change yourself, so you change the entire world. For each and every change is a total change, not just a small change, but a total change. And when you know that physical reality is a mirror, a reflection of your strongest beliefs, your strongest thoughts, what you believe is possible, most likely to occur, then you can use the outer mirror illusion reflection as a guideline, a marker, a reminder of what kind of thoughts you are having, what kind of definitions you are believing, what kind of concepts you are buying into. And you can use it as a feedback system to show you whether or not you prefer to maintain those beliefs and those definitions. And if not, then to learn to change them and to see the outer reality, reflection, change along with the change within you. But as I have said before, and this is one of those, what you call in your language, catch-22s, is the idea that it must be an unconditional change, must be an unconditional internal change, which is another way of saying that if you make a condition of changing, in other words, you say, I will change if I get then the response I want to get, then you are making it conditional, and you are still putting the power outside yourself. You are still projecting outside yourself and saying that the power of change comes with the outside, comes with the change in the outside, rather than simply determining that the change has happened within you, and that you are who you want to be for its own sake, regardless of what goes on around you. In other words, that's the secret of true change, is that you will change and will behave differently than you did before, even if the outside reflection is still the same. When you can be that, when you can behave differently than you did before, even when the outside hasn't changed, then you have really changed. And when you then have really changed, the outside has no choice as a reflection, like in a mirror, but to change to mirror you. But if you do it to get the change, you short-circuit it, and it will not happen, because you make it conditional. That's the power of the paradox in this situation. And the power of the paradox between the difference of the illusion of power and using the power of the illusion. Now, when we say illusion, again, understand, in your semantics, in your language, that's what reality is. It doesn't mean that there is no reality, except that there is no reality except what you define it to be. But that's what reality is. We are not saying it doesn't exist, but we are saying simply that reality is only the definitions you bring to the forefront of your belief system structure. And that forms the reflection, the illusion, if you wish, that you see, that you perceive all around you. Now again, remember, this is not just a philosophy, this is physics, You are energy. Energy is information. You are patterns of information. You are a perspective. You are a point of view, of consciousness, of awareness, of existence itself. That's what each and every one of you are, a point of view. And as you design and define your point of view of who and what you believe yourself to be, or who and what you believe yourself capable of being, that's what you'll get reflected. It may not always be a one-to-one reflection. Literally, it may be quite symbolic, because the reality mirror, the illusion, is, in that sense, capable of reflecting back to you in many symbolic ways, the representative of many states and levels of your consciousness, your emotional self, your spiritual self, your mental self, your bodily self. There are many different ways that your mirror has of reflecting back to you those symbols that are representative of the beliefs you hold most true. And so it is up to you to be imaginative, to be able to learn to interpret your own reality around you. The things that you see, the people that you meet, all have significance. There are no accidents in that sense. It is a type of orchestration, a choreography, and it is up to you to let it in your heart, your mind, your spirit, your body, to let it in, to be open to what your reality has to say to you, to what your reflection is showing you about yourself, so that you can learn to truly master the power of the illusion instead of being the slave to the illusion of power that many of you in your society have succumbed to for thousands of your years. This is what this transformation is all about, that's going on in consciousness on your world. The awakening, the opening up of yourself to more of yourself. The realization of who and what you really are, what you were really created to be, and thus the total surrender, that is to say, total acceptance of yourself, so that reality can show you who you actually are, rather than playing the illusion game of who you think you're supposed to be, which only has you running around in circles and tiring you out. And you have been so very tired for so very long as a society. Time to energize and wake up, and the way you will do that is to surrender to who you are, accept who you really are in your heart of hearts, as a dreamer, as an imaginative creator, and accept reality as a reflection of you. You're not a victim in any way, shape, or form, on any level whatsoever, unless you decide that's the game you want to play. And if you do, it will be allowed, because you are always supported in everything you decide is true. Because, again, infinite creation is nothing but unconditional allowance and love, and will allow you, through its unconditional support and love, to have any game scenario you want. Even a game scenario wherein you can pretend you are not loved. It loves you that much. And so use that love to your advantage, and allow yourself to wake up into that love, to love yourself, and to understand that anything at all, is possible for you within the context of the reality that you have chosen, and that you are now expanding even the definition of that reality, now that you understand, or at least are beginning to understand, the power behind the illusion. So, as it expands, you will expand, possibilities will expand, reality will change, and you have begun to see many of the symptoms of that as space and time become very much more slippery. And things are not quite so rigid. And all the different belief systems that have existed on your planet for thousands of years are now all coming out at once onto the table, battling it out, in a sense. Positive, negative, pro and con, everything coming to the surface, all the deep, dark secrets, all the fears, all the doubts, along with all the possibilities of infinite joy, all coming out on the table all at once, so you can choose, because that is the ultimate tool of freedom and power. the ability to know you can choose. And that's all there is to it. And it begins from the realization that that's all you've ever done, is choose. What you get is what you chose, consciously or unconsciously. To believe was the most likely kind of thing you were capable of getting. Now that you can begin to see yourself as a true aspect of the infinite, you will know that infinity is open to you. And it is up to you to determine just exactly how much of that infinity and how much ecstasy you can handle at any given moment. You determine the rate. You are the valve, completely and utterly, that determines the rate of flow of that ecstasy, because it's only your energy that you're going to be feeling. And it's up to you to determine exactly how you want to feel your own vibration, in what context and in what form. Whether you want to feel your own energy as joy, or whether you want to feel your own energy as fear, it's up to you. But both can be instructional and both can be educational, if you use them that way. We will once again thank you for allowing us to experience each and every one of you in this link, in this transmission. And we now ask, in what way may we now be of service to you? You! Good day.
Good day, Bashar.
Speak up so that all may hear what you have to share.
Good day, Bashar.
Thank you. Good day.
Wanted to find out when you actually come to visit us. You have told me before that we will know.
Yes.
But for me as an individual, will I be able to have direct contact with you?
That I cannot say. You will most likely have some direct contact with some member of my species, but I cannot say whether that will actually culminate in a one-to-one contact with my own actual personage.
Because I would very much look...
I understand, and you do not have to patronize or patronage me. The idea simply is that none of these things on that specific level are yet completely decided because of the ebb and flux and flow of how every one of you are creating your reality as you go. Therefore, understand, we are meeting this way now, and this is as real in a sense as it gets. But the idea of what you call face-to-face bodily interaction is possible as a probability for any given member of my species, but it will have to remain as a quantum probability until such time as it actually comes to happen. And then you simply find out who it is you happen to be face-to-face with.
Well, based on the way the energy reads now, can you give me a probability of meeting you again? Meeting you in person?
About 17%.
Any idea why that low?
Why is that low? It's 17% higher than zero.
True.
Which it will probably be if you ask another question like that. You get the point?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. And if you could just kind of fill us in terms of what your plans are between now and then.
I have no plans ever.
In terms of what your activity is going to be.
I have
in your ship
no way of knowing what my activity is going to be.
Okay, or what it's likely to be.
I have no way of telling you that.
Okay, what about what you're doing, your current position now? Are you still above Cairo?
2,500 miles, yes.
Okay, still 2,500 miles.
I have not yet been 2,500 miles.
Is that the lowest you've been?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So things are, the energy down here is pretty good then.
All right, we'll say it's pretty good.
Well, is it?
But it's still 2,500 miles short.
Okay.
Of contact.
Okay. And Thursday night, I was out at Area 51, and I was wondering, we saw...
no comment, thank you.
The
You!
Good day.
And to you, good day.
I would like to ask, can you explain to us what the photon belt is?
Yes.
Are we experiencing it?
Yes.
And how can we access this for our own selves?
Thank you. Your third question, in a sense, is actually something that can be answered by the first two, because of what the concept of the photon belt is. will show you how your third question is already answered. The photon belt, even though there will be and is an exteriorized representation of this concept, is something that is representative of the collective consciousness of your own people. In other words, to use an analogy, you are familiar with the idea that as your technology sought to break the sound barrier, and as you built machines that got closer and closer and closer to breaking the sound barrier, there would be a type of buildup, a shock wave that made it seem more and more difficult to go through that barrier, a type of resistance built up ahead of the aircraft until such time as the aircraft actually then finally broke through, and after it broke through that particular barrier, then it went much faster and the going, as you say, was much smoother. But until it broke through, there was a buildup and a resistance. Do you follow me so far by analogy?
Yes.
This photon belt is such an analogy, such an idea. The collective consciousness of your entire planet, its idea of crossing a threshold, its recognition of there being the ending of a cycle and the beginning of a new cycle, is causing a buildup of energy. This buildup of consciousness energy expresses itself in your physical reality as electromagnetic energy fields. This electromagnetic energy field that is being referred to as the photon belt is simply the physical representation of the threshold that you're all going through, that you're all crossing, in a sense. It is the resistance you all have to being your full selves. But as you get closer and closer and closer and closer to being your full selves, the resistance will actually seem to be greater and greater and greater and greater and greater until such time as you simply allow yourselves to be your full selves, and then, with a bang, in a sense, you will cross the threshold, and it will be smoother sailing on the other side. And therefore, as this then answers your third question by letting you understand that the more you simply allow yourself to be who you really are, and accept yourself and give yourself unconditional love, the smoother the sailing will be, and the quicker you will be able to cross through that threshold, and the smoother any particular manifestations in physical reality will be. Do you follow that?
Yes.
Does that answer your question?
I believe it does, but I had this thought from other people that kind of said there was some kind of like stuff that we were going to pass through it. So we're going to pass...
I just told you, yes.
We're going to pass through our own consciousness and
that
our
is
own
what
thoughts.
you are doing, and your own consciousness does create an electromagnetic effect, and so there will be some outside effects, but the way in which you choose to go through your own consciousness, the way in which you choose to become yourself, the smoother you do that, the smoother the effects will be outwardly. Do you follow that?
Yes, I do.
Does that help you?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Thank you. You. Good day.
Good day. I developed this speech problem.
Speech challenge.
Speech challenge.
Yes.
Pretty good, yeah. Over the last 3 months or so.
All right.
And so in the...
Can you be more specific about what you are experiencing symptomologically?
Well, like my thoughts, what I'm trying to say doesn't come out. What I am thinking doesn't,
Yes.
my voice will not say those words.
Maybe you don't need to say so much.
I've considered that.
Oh, all right. Now, I am not attempting to be facetious,
Yeah.
but the idea really can have some merit. Mm-hmm. It might be simply that you need to understand you're going through a transitional state, and that sometimes certain kinds of transitional states your people will go through will actually mean you do need a type of meditative withdrawal.
Yeah.
You do need to go more into the center of yourself and not really communicate outwardly as much as you think you need to. In other words, say more with less.
I understand.
This really is the reflective analogy, because this is the very crux, the very heart of learning the power of your being, to be able to do more with less. Mm-hmm. You see, this is the secret of all abundance and all creativity and all manifestation. When you learn to do more with less, you will then need to do less to get more. That's what you need to do. And so this is your way. So this communicative style is your way right now. It may change, but it's your way right now of slowing yourself down in a sense, seemingly slowing yourself down so that you can actually paradoxically speed up. But you have to pull yourself in a little bit. Let it be all right to be in this space and change the rate at which and the style in which you communicate so that you can learn to communicate more efficiently, more effectively, really, truly, by saying more with less. Because remember, the greatest power requires the gentlest touch to get something done. The more you have to do, the less powerful you actually think you are. The greatest power requires the lightest touch and gets everything done. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So relax into yourself, find the new pace within you, and synchronize. Let yourself synchronize. You will. Now, simultaneously, and this goes for all of you, remember, you must begin treating yourselves very well. You must begin treating yourselves very well. You must allow yourselves to be healthy, behave in a healthy manner, make sure you have enough purified water, air, movement, no stress, no toxins. You follow? All these things are important now, more important than ever, because you are refining your vibrations, refining your energy, and you don't want to necessarily spend energy fighting against yourself.
Good day, Bashar.
Speak up so that all may hear what you have to share.
Good day, Bashar.
Thank you. Good day.
Wanted to find out when you actually come to visit us. You have told me before that we will know.
Yes.
But for me as an individual, will I be able to have direct contact with you?
That I cannot say. You will most likely have some direct contact with some member of my species, but I cannot say whether that will actually culminate in a one-to-one contact with my own actual personage.
Because I would very much look...
I understand, and you do not have to patronize or patronage me. The idea simply is that none of these things on that specific level are yet completely decided because of the ebb and flux and flow of how every one of you are creating your reality as you go. Therefore, understand, we are meeting this way now, and this is as real in a sense as it gets. But the idea of what you call face-to-face bodily interaction is possible as a probability for any given member of my species, but it will have to remain as a quantum probability until such time as it actually comes to happen. And then you simply find out who it is you happen to be face-to-face with.
Well, based on the way the energy reads now, can you give me a probability of meeting you again? Meeting you in person?
About 17%.
Any idea why that low?
Why is that low? It's 17% higher than 0.
True.
Which it will probably be if you ask another question like that. You get the point?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. And if you could just kind of fill us in terms of what your plans are between now and then.
I have no plans ever.
In terms of what your activity is going to be.
I have
in your ship
no way of knowing what my activity is going to be.
Okay, or what it's likely to be.
I have no way of telling you that.
Okay, what about what you're doing, your current position now? Are you still above Cairo?
2,500 miles, yes.
Okay, still 2,500 miles.
I have not yet been 2,500 miles.
Is that the lowest you've been?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So things are, the energy down here is pretty good then.
All right, we'll say it's pretty good.
Well, is it?
But it's still 2,500 miles short
Okay.
of contact.
Okay. And Thursday night, I was out at Area 51, and I was wondering, we saw...
No comment, thank you.
The
You!
Good day.
And to you, good day.
I would like to ask, can you explain to us what the photon belt is?
Yes.
Are we experiencing it?
Yes.
And how can we access this for our own selves?
Thank you. Your third question, in a sense, is actually something that can be answered by the first two. Because of what the concept of the photon belt is, will show you how your third question is already answered. The photon belt, even though there will be and is an exteriorized representation of this concept, is something that is representative of the collective consciousness of your own people. In other words, to use an analogy, you are familiar with the idea that as your technology sought to break the sound barrier, and as you built machines that got closer and closer and closer to breaking the sound barrier, there would be a type of buildup, a shock wave that made it seem more and more difficult to go through that barrier, a type of resistance built up ahead of the aircraft until such time as the aircraft actually then finally broke through, and after it broke through that particular barrier, then it went much faster and the going, as you say, was much smoother. But until it broke through, there was a buildup and a resistance. Do you follow me so far by analogy?
Yes.
This photon belt is such an analogy, such an idea. The collective consciousness of your entire planet, its idea of crossing a threshold, its recognition of there being the ending of a cycle and the beginning of a new cycle, is causing a buildup of energy. This buildup of consciousness energy expresses itself in your physical reality as electromagnetic energy fields. This electromagnetic energy field that is being referred to as the photon belt is simply the physical representation of the threshold that you're all going through, that you're all crossing, in a sense. It is the resistance you all have to being your full selves. But as you get closer and closer and closer and closer to being your full selves, the resistance will actually seem to be greater and greater and greater and greater and greater until such time as you simply allow yourselves to be your full selves, and then, with a bang, in a sense, you will cross the threshold, and it will be smoother sailing on the other side. And therefore, as this then answers your third question by letting you understand that the more you simply allow yourself to be who you really are, and accept yourself and give yourself unconditional love, the smoother the sailing will be, and the quicker you will be able to cross through that threshold, and the smoother any particular manifestations in physical reality will be. Do you follow that?
Yes.
Does that answer your question?
I believe it does, but I had this thought from other people that kind of said there was some kind of stuff that we were going to pass through it. So we're going to pass...
I just told you, yes.
We're going to pass through our own consciousness and
That is what you are doing, and your own consciousness does create an electromagnetic effect, and so there will be some outside effects, but the way in which you choose to go through your own consciousness, the way in which you choose to become yourself, the smoother you do that, the smoother the effects will be outwardly. Do you follow that?
Yes, I do.
Does that help you?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bashar.
You.
Um,
Good day.
Good day. I developed this speech problem.
Speech challenge.
Speech challenge.
Yes.
Pretty good, yeah. Over the last 3 months or so.
All right.
And so in the...
Can you be more specific about what you are experiencing symptomologically?
Well, my thoughts, what I'm trying to say doesn't come out. What I am thinking doesn't,
Yes.
my voice will not say those words.
Maybe you don't need to say so much.
I've considered that.
Oh, all right. Now, I am not attempting to be facetious,
Yeah.
but the idea really can have some merit.
Mm-hmm.
It might be simply that you need to understand you're going through a transitional state, and that sometimes certain kinds of transitional states your people will go through will actually mean you do need a type of meditative withdrawal.
Yeah.
You do need to go more into the center of yourself and not really communicate outwardly as much as you think you need to. In other words, say more with less.
I understand.
This really is the reflective analogy, because this is the very crux, the very heart of learning the power of your being. To be able to do more with less. You see, this is the secret of all abundance and all creativity and all manifestation. When you learn to do more with less, you will then need to do less to get more. That's what you need to do. And so this is your way, through this communicative style, is your way right now. It may change, but it's your way right now of slowing yourself down in a sense, seemingly slowing yourself down so that you can actually paradoxically speed up. But you have to pull yourself in a little bit, let it be all right to be in this space, and change the rate at which and the style in which you communicate so that you can learn to communicate more efficiently, more effectively, really, truly, by saying more with less. Because remember, the greatest power requires the gentlest touch to get something done. The more you have to do, the less powerful you actually think you are. The greatest power requires the lightest touch and gets everything done. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So relax into yourself, find the new pace within you, and synchronize. Let yourself synchronize. You will. Now, simultaneously, and this goes for all of you, remember, you must begin treating yourselves very well. You must begin treating yourselves very well. You must allow yourselves to be healthy, behave in a healthy manner, make sure you have enough purified water, air, movement, no stress, no toxins. You follow? Mm-hmm. All these things are important now, more important than ever, because you are refining your vibrations, refining your energy, and you don't want to necessarily spend energy fighting against yourself. So, for many of you, and I don't mean to plant this in your mind, it can be very simple, but for many of you it's going to be tough enough without heaping upon yourself all those additional things. So, be kind to yourself. Be nice to yourself. Lighten up on yourself in a variety of ways. Let yourself fall into your appropriate pace and trust that whatever is going on right now, and this can apply to many situations, whatever is going on right now needs to be what is going on right now. Paradoxically, again, when you allow what is to be what needs to be, what is can become what it needs to become. Did you follow that?
Yeah.
When you allow what is to be okay, that it's there, and not fight it, then what is there can become something else. And that something else will be, if you let it, more reflective of your true, bigger, more powerful self. If you let it. Notice I said, you don't have to make it. Just if you let it. Because life is allowance. You follow?
Thank you.
Does this help you?
Yes.
Have I used too many words to explain this to you?
No.
Thank you. Male, then female. Number one, do you know who you are? Yes. All right. Number two, do you know who you are? Yes. All right.
Good day, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
Bashar, a few weeks ago you talked about a template moving into place over the next 2.5 years.
Yes. Template grinding into place.
Right. 2001.
Yes.
And that there was, in a sense, a window of time for us to surrender to ourselves.
Yes.
Past that moment,
things will be a little more difficult.
A little more difficult.
Only in the sense that if you want to align, you'll have to align more quickly, and not that many of you are used to doing it that quickly. I'm not saying it is inherently more difficult. It is more difficult based on your patterns. In the sense that when there's not much time left to align and you have to do it quickly, not many of you know how to do that with grace. You may have to find yourself flailing, kicking, and screaming. You will do it. If you have intended to do it, you will do it. We're just letting you know that if you stop kicking and screaming now, if you let go now, things will be much smoother and much easier than they will be for you later, based on how quickly you yourself will want to accelerate later, and how uneasy that may make you feel simply because you're not used to it. Did you follow that logic?
I did, but I'm trying to get a sense of
Yes.
what changes after the year 2001 that's going to make it more
You
difficult.
are reaching critical mass. And it isn't just your year of 2001. That's one threshold. There are many beyond that as well, between 2001 and approximately 2013. It's like a series of stepping up gears. So the idea is that when enough of your society begins to arrive at a certain level of understanding, a certain awakening, a certain frequency, then that frequency acts as a trigger mechanism and makes it more likely for more people to also step up their frequency. So you have had so much attention for so long on your year of 2001, and also that your consciousness is using it as the shifting point in general of a cycle, that it is creating a critical mass. You follow?
Yes, I do.
It's like what you call a snap the whip.
Okay.
And thus then you will find that that wave will come along very quickly. Those who are ready to ride it will grab on and ride it smoothly, because they will have nothing holding them back, nothing weighing them down. Those who have that resistance issue, those weighty issues that they are still dealing with, may find it a little bit more difficult to hold on to the whip when the wave comes by. You follow me?
Yes, I do. The wave analogy helps a lot.
Oh, all right.
Because, in a sense, it's within me, looking at the 2.5 years, I'm thinking, well, I better really get my act together so I can catch that wave, in a sense, between
Yes.
now and then.
But don't do it in a worrisome or judgmental way.
That's my point, because
Yes.
when you use the wave analogy, well, okay, now I'm on the beach, I'm
Yes.
I'm on a board, and
All right.
I have
Very good.
I have an opportunity
Yes.
to catch the wave.
All right, well, very good. And you have made a good point. And the point you have made that is good and good for everyone in this particular gathering is that it is up to each and every one of you to decide how to interpret this concept. And your interpretation for you is correct. There isn't one way. You have all the basic same understanding of what kind of transition and change is going on energetically. It's up to you to decide exactly what the methodology shall be for how you will relate to it and how it will work best for you. Use whatever terminology and symbology works for you, and that will be correct. Why? Because you came up with it. Because you know what you're doing. Believe it or not, you know what you're doing. You have to trust that. You know what you're doing. And if you mull it around in your imagination, and you could have done it without this conversation, I'm not chastising you, I'm just letting you know, you could have had this conversation in your own head and said, well, you know, you talked about this template grinding and this and that. Well, you know, if I thought about it like a wave, it would make more sense to me and I would understand it.
Right.
You could have had that conversation completely internally, and in fact, you actually have. Because I'm only a catalyst and a trigger. I'm not giving it to you.
Right.
You are just allowing yourself to give it to yourself in this particular format.
I understand. One of the things that I have learned from you over the years was that your own speed, your own time, we're infinite beings, what's the rush?
Yes.
And then when you threw in that template thing, that it seemed like a mixed message. I had to hurry for some reason.
Oh, I see.
And so that's what I was
Well,
trying
that
to
just shows you may have a few semantic bumps to smooth out within you.
All right.
That's all.
Okay.
Because it's all a matter of definition. And it's an opportunity for you to learn to trust yourself instead of all of a sudden hearing a word that you don't right understand and suddenly doubting that you have an understanding of the whole concept just because of that one word. Do you follow?
Yes.
The idea is to say, no, wait a minute, I did understand it, and just because this word doesn't seem to fit doesn't mean I don't understand it now. Find a way to make yourself know you understand it.
Well, that's pretty much what I had to do. It was like,
Yes.
well, wait a minute, I don't get it the way he's saying it. I'm going to follow my own
Thank you.
way.
Thank you. That is what we have always implored all of you to do. Follow your own way. That's what counts.
Okay.
Does that help you?
Yes, it does.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, Bashar.
Number 2.
Hello, Bashar.
And you good day.
It's been a while.
Oh, all right, if you insist. Speak up and be bold so that all may hear what you have to share.
First, I wanted to say thank you.
All right, thank you. And you're welcome.
I was sort of out in the blue, you might say, and got a hold of your tapes, which sort of explained what was happening to me.
All right. Thank you for your synchronicity and explaining it to yourself. by using us as a reflection.
Okay. A friend of mine is in contact with some ETs.
Yes.
And they state that they will soon be in contact with myself and my mate.
All right.
Could you by any chance
I
give
trust
me...
you're not asking me to verify that.
No, no, no. Just give me some idea of where they're from.
Nope.
Okay. Next question.
Yes.
If you're living in a toxic area
Yes.
and need to do that for a little bit longer, how can you keep it from overpowering you, so to speak?
You can allow yourself to detoxify in the most natural and organic way possible. Many, many, many applications can be made of what you call natural herbs and such that act as very powerful detoxifiers, and when they are formulated correctly will allow you to go through these detoxifications in a smooth, transitional way. Avail yourself of these ideas and make sure they are as pure as possible.
Okay, and one more question.
Yes.
I seem to be having a little bit of problem with my brain, they tell me.
I see.
And
That is a conundrum.
Yeah. And want me either to have an operation or to have parts burnt with radiation.
I see.
Which I choose not to do.
I see. Again,
Yeah.
you may find that some of the ideas, depending upon the time frame and depending upon what you're doing with your own belief systems and what your belief systems most strongly believe they need to do, path of least resistance, allow yourself again to remember that again, if you have within you set up the structure of an appropriate time frame, you can still alleviate even this with the idea of detoxification in the utilization of pure herbal formulations.
Okay. Thank you.
What you need to do is make sure that your body is capable of repairing itself. And what this usually implies is that you have to oxygenate it, make sure enough blood is getting to every part of your body, make sure you have enough water so that the cells can flush the toxins out, and so forth.
Okay.
You follow?
Well, actually, I have an oxygen tank in my living room, which I exercise
Yes, but this may
with.
not be sufficient.
Okay.
The idea is that you have to detoxify the body, and there are herbal concoctions that can do this. If you will do your research, there are also some suggestions and recommendations that can be made by the channel if you wish after this transmission, if you wish to talk to him about it.
Okay.
All right?
Yep.
Does that help you?
Yes, it does.
Thank you. 1, 2, 3. Number 2, do you know who you are? Yes. Number 3. Male. Yes. Not you. You are number 1. Number 3. Yes. All right, thank you. Number 1, good day.
Good day, Bashar. I want to thank you for being here.
I am not there, but thank you for the sentiment.
Well, we are together somehow.
Yes.
Through the years, and thank you for these connections with lessons which I learned from you, I improved a lot.
You have learned these from yourself, but thank you.
Thank you. And I have a particular question.
Yes.
Through meditation, I have a year ago received an information for certain place in Arizona, certain name of town,
Yes.
surroundings, and so on and so
Yes,
forth.
for what purpose, toward what end?
It was for finding something like archaeological thing, which consists of 7 plates, which
yes,
are made
yes, yes.
from gold or
Yes.
bronze or some
Yes.
yellow material,
Yes.
and something written over them.
Yes.
I've been so far 4 times there, and
Yes.
I actually discovered the place which came in my meditation.
All right. And?
And the information which I had is somehow these plates are connected with Asian Martian visit here, a connection.
Not all
with,
of them.
Connection with Indians and
Yes.
forming a new civilization, like
Many
Aztec
things.
civilization or something like
Yes,
that.
in a sense.
Now, I would like to ask you. I have 2 questions. One of them is if you can track in your collective memory what actually happened, where these plates came from. And my second question is how to proceed with the legal system existing here. What shall
Legal
I do with
system.
them? Yeah, if I, for instance, if I dig them out.
Yes. You're not
I-
going to dig them out right away.
No, yeah, I can go in jail because I have to go through certain procedures, and I don't know how to do it.
All right, well, why don't you research and find out? What stops you from finding out how to do it?
Well, the way I consider to do it is to go with the local Indians and because it's in regarding their history and
Yes.
to do something with the tribe.
Yes, well, why don't you ask them?
Well, that's my next visit, which will be about 15 days from now.
Oh, well, then what are you talking to me for?
Well, I'm asking you if you can track exactly what happened, how these plates arrived there.
I am not allowed to. You are in mid-process. I cannot interrupt this flow. It is not something that I need to have access of information for. And that tells me that you need to continue as you're continuing, not worry about the legalities, but do what needs to be done. Stay within your integrity and simply follow through. Communication is the key. Frequency, state of being is the key, because one thing I can tell you about the 7 plates is this. Your vibration is going to have to match each and every one of them before you can find them, one at a time. And as you match their frequency, the plates will, in a sense, step you up a notch each time. And you will know more as you go. But at first, involve those who are involved. Dialogue with them, engage them, communicate, be open, have them help you, let them guide you in that sense. Timing will show you the way. All right?
Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, let's say good day to you this day of your time. How are you all? All right. All right, we'll take that as an okay. We thank you all with deep appreciation for the co-creation this day of your time of this interaction and the allowance of this transmission. Our unconditional love to you all, and let us begin. We have titled this transmission, Sedona, the Interdimensional City. The idea being that because of the nature of the vortex of energy that exists in this area, it is connected to many different realms, many different realities, many different dimensions. And so we would like to discuss the ways in which you may use this portal, this energy, to connect to more of yourself, bring more of yourself through, that being your greater self, not just your physical minds, but connecting more readily with your higher mind, with your greater being, with parallel realities, with Source, and your guides, and all who are willing to be of assistance to you. The first thing we would like to explain is the idea of that connection, because we know many of you ask for assistance, ask for help, pray for guidance, but I remind you, prayer is not about asking for something you don't have. Prayer is a state of grace, a state of being, in which you express appreciation and gratitude for what already exists. Because you have all the help you can possibly be given already. It's about allowing yourself to be more aware of the help you are already receiving, rather than asking for something you are not being given. Keep it in present tense, for that's where everything exists, in the right here and the right now. We have before talked about the idea, just to use a similar Earth analogy, of the AAA formula. When you need assistance, you call AAA. But this AAA is the idea of acknowledging what you have, being in appreciation for what you have, and allowing what needs to happen next to happen. So acknowledging, appreciating, and allowing are the states of being that represent your ability to allow you to know you are receiving what you need and to be more open to perceiving it. It is the allowance that allows you to perceive what it is you are already being given.
because you are always being given it. It is never withheld, not for one moment. As we have said, based on the idea you call the law of attraction, it isn't wrong that you have to be of the vibration to attract what you need, but many people have a little bit of a misunderstanding as to what that really means. And so, as we have explained, your core frequency, your true essential vibration, is already attracting everything you need as powerfully as it can be. So it's not about having to learn that particular frequency. You're already radiating that frequency every moment of your existence. It is pouring out of you. The idea is to stop getting in the way of allowing it to attract what you need. So it's not about having to learn something you're not already doing. It's about letting go of those fear-based or negative belief systems or erroneous assumptions and definitions that are impeding your core vibration from bringing you what you need in life. And notice that we have said what you need, not what you want. Sometimes your wants and needs can coincide, but very often the want may be the result of a misunderstanding in the ego structure to make you think you need something that really isn't necessarily as relevant as you might think or as you might wish. But if you have what you need, your lives will be fulfilled. You will live a life of joy because the needs are what will support you in every endeavor that is representative of your truth, of your passion, of your true path in life. If you have what you need, you have everything. Again, sometimes if you are in touch and in tune with your true self, then your wants and needs may coincide. And at the very least, if you're going to want what you need, because that will give you everything. The idea now of being in this vortex, it is a magnifier and an amplifier of what you bring with you into it. Positive, neutral, and negative. It is very important in this reflective mirror, this magnifying mirror, to really deep down examine what you hold to be true, why you hold it to be true, and really with honesty deeply investigate yourself, your beliefs, your definitions, and ponder why you believe it is important to hold on to something. So allow yourself the opportunity to really get to know yourself. That ancient wisdom, know thyself, is the key. And in knowing yourself as clearly as you possibly can, you can more easily discern what it is that is truly important for you to hold on to as a belief, to understand why you're holding on to it, to understand why you may be holding on to things that don't necessarily serve you. Because once again, allow us to explain briefly what we call the motivational mechanism in all of you. Every single one of you operate this way. There are no exceptions. Not even you. The idea is it works this way. You will all immediately, instantly move in the direction of what you believe serves you. You will all immediately, automatically, and instantly move away from what you believe does not serve you. So if you can observe that you may be choosing things that do not serve you, if you understand the motivational mechanism, then you will understand that the only way that could happen, the only way that can happen, is if you have a belief that says that what it is that doesn't serve you is somehow better than the alternative. That you may have a fear that if you move in the direction of your truth, your passion, that something worse will happen than what you're already experiencing. And if you have that belief attached to your motivational mechanism, you will do everything in your power to avoid moving in the direction of your joy. because your belief says that something worse will happen and that is something you should move away from as far as you possibly can. So you have to dig down deep in your self-investigation to understand why you would believe such a thing, why you would believe that your passion would contain anything that is so contradictory to the idea of experiencing your true self in a joyful way. Because that's a contradictory definition to the idea of your passion, of who you truly are. Because what is your passion? As we have explained, your passion is the result of a communication from your higher mind saying, this is who you are. This is the next step on your path. Your non-physical higher mind, that portion of your whole being that is in spirit, is sending you energy messages all the time. But they come in the form of energy because it is coming from a non-physical reality. Your physical body translates that energy message as the sensation you call passion, excitement, curiosity, attraction, and love. So when you translate the messages from your higher mind into the sensation and the experience of passion, then you know that that's what your higher mind is telling you. This opportunity, this situation contains this excitement, this passion, because this is who you are. This is the next step on your path. This is your truth. If you are willing to act on it, then you are responding to the higher mind saying, yes, I heard you, and I'm willing to allow you to guide me. And if you thus act on it, you have responded to the higher mind with the language of physical reality, which is not words and not thoughts, but actions. Physical actions are the language of physical reality. It is representative of the commitment to take action on what the higher mind has told you is your next step in life. And once you do that, you set up the dialogue with your higher mind so that it can send you more opportunities to act on your passion. For why should it send you more opportunities if you haven't even acted on what it's already sent you? The idea is then you cause the ball to start rolling, and then it can gain momentum, and then the higher mind can bring you more opportunities and bigger opportunities to act on your passion. And it doesn't matter if it starts small. If you do not immediately know what your passion is, allow yourself to start simply in daily ways. At any given moment, you have a number of options available to you. Very simple daily things. You can take a walk, you can read a book, you can talk to a friend, you can eat a meal. Just pick what has even the tiniest bit more excitement than any other choice and act on that first to the best you can. No insistence, no assumption as to the outcome. See where it leads, stay in a positive state, examine any belief systems that are fear-based and negative that come up surrounding it, and just keep doing that. If you find you cannot tell the difference between two things, flip a coin. Because then it won't matter. Sometimes the coin flip may reveal to you what your true attraction is. Oh, heads I'll do A and B I'll do tails this way. And if you flip it and it goes tails, you go, oh darn, I wish it was heads. Now you know, move in that direction. But if they're truly equal in excitement, truly equal in your ability to take action on them, then it doesn't matter which one you choose first, because one of the things that is connected to the idea of your passion is the organizing principle of synchronicity. And if that is not the correct path for you at that moment, synchronicity will create situations, circumstances, and opportunities that will turn you right around to the path that is. It's automatic. That's how it functions. It guides you. And I remind you that even though there is such a thing as negative synchronicity, so to speak, where you can compound the idea of fear-based beliefs and have a downward spiral in that direction, there are also two types of positive synchronicity. What we will call green light synchronicity and red light synchronicity, just like your traffic situation. The green light synchronicity says, here's an opportunity, and it says, go, act on it. You can act on it, and you can move forward. Red light synchronicity says this may be representative of your passion,
But don't take that action right now. No matter how hard you try, there's nothing you can seem to do about acting on that thing. If it's not you that is preventing yourself from doing that, then it is simply red light synchronicity saying, not yet. You may need to go over here to gather information and experience that will bring you back around to the proper timing when you can act on this, but not right now. So if you've done everything you can to act on something and it just doesn't seem to be moving forward, then trust that as long as you are honest with yourself and you're not the one dampening that excitement, that red light synchronicity is telling you that this is not exactly the step you need to take at this moment. Go with what you can act on. Go with what green light synchronicity says you can act on this, and it will actually lead you where you need to be, so that when you wind up there, these other things that are all interconnected, all representative of your passion and your excitement, can then possibly come to fruition. But I caution you this. Never assume that the form that your excitement comes in is the form that must come to fruition, because you don't know why it came to you in that form. It might play out, but sometimes, because of the nature of the belief systems that exist within your physical mind, sometimes synchronicity and excitement have to present themselves to you in a certain way, just because that's the way that will get you to actually take an action. Get you excited enough to move so that you can wind up where you need to be, so that what really needs to happen can actually happen more easily. And that's why you don't have any insistence or assumption about why your excitement comes in the form that it does. So you don't have to assume that it's rigidly fixed, so that surprises can come and lead you exactly where you need to be led. Does that all make sense to you so far? Yes. All right. We tell you these things in advance of the conversation that we are now going to have about the idea of the vortex being an interdimensional access point for you. Because when you clarify yourself and when you understand how the formula that we've shared with all of you really works, and you use it very precisely, then the idea of the amplification and magnification of this energy vortex can really work to your advantage and really allow you to experience a great deal of acceleration in the direction of your true path. Now, let's talk a little bit about the idea of how you use already parallel realities to create the experiences in your life. You already have what you consider to be a timeline to your life. You linearly usually think of it going from A to Z. I'm going from the past to the future, through the present. But the present is all there is. The past and the future, in a sense, are just probable illusions. Probabilities that haven't yet really solidified until you solidify yourself in the present, until you define yourself clearly in the present, in whatever way, shape, or form you might do that, positively or negatively, or even neutrally. I remind you of this so that you understand that while you may think linearly that the future is not fixed, neither is the past. Listen carefully. What you define yourself to be in the here and now, which is all there is, in the present, right now, not only changes the probabilities of the future, but changes your past as well. Why? It works this way. Because you're experiencing the idea of physical reality, because you're experiencing the idea of cause and effect, you're separating them out. Oh, this causes this effect to happen. This must happen first so that this can happen. Because that's the way you experience the concept of space and time, because you have created physical reality to be viewed and experienced that way, anytime you make a change in your definition of who you are in the present, anytime you become literally a different person, a new person, your linear reality has to shift in a way that says, well, if you're a new person now, we have to alter the past to become the kind of past that would have led to who you are in the present. We have to change the cause so that the effect makes sense. So you're actually changing your past all the time, literally, not metaphorically, literally. Now, you may not know that all the time, because again, as soon as you make that adjustment in the present, the past is going to bring with it the idea that that's always been your past, because that's what's going to make sense to you linearly. Even though 2 minutes ago you may have had a completely different past, you may not know that, because in order to function in physical reality in the present, you have to remember the past that makes sense for who you are now. And this is dynamically changing all the time. Now, because you are expanding your consciousness, because you are allowing yourself to be a little bit more aware of more of yourself, some of you are beginning to experience what you have labeled the Mandela effect, which is the idea that you are actually aware of the fact that the past has changed, and that one person can remember one past and another person can remember a completely different past for the exact same event. Now, that's not always the case. Sometimes it is just a slip of your memory. But sometimes it is the idea of recognizing that you have shifted the past in order to truly define who you are in the present, and that two people can have a memory of absolutely different histories, and both of them are real, because all parallel realities exist at the same time. Everything exists here and now. When your scientists begin to understand consciousness a little bit more thoroughly, they will understand that in their search for a so-called unified theory of physics, they have to include the idea of not only reducing all of the physical phenomenon in reality to a single idea that explains all of the effects, they have to reduce space and time as well. So, reducing the idea of space to its ultimate will be the idea of a single dimensionless point. Reducing the idea of time to its ultimate will be a single timeless moment. You can call the single dimensionless point here and the single timeless moment now. So everything becomes existing here and now, in lay terms. But once you do that, once you truly start to wrap your minds around the understanding that anything you can imagine in every parallel reality all exists simultaneously, all going on right now, you start to realize that what that really means is that there is only that single point of here, only that timeless moment of now, and therefore anything that you perceive as a different place, anything that you perceive as a different moment, is actually the same place and the same moment from a different point of view. Because there is only one place here and only one moment now. So everything you experience that appears to be stretched out into volumes of space and moments of time are all the same place and the same time from another vantage point, another perspective of that same here and now. That's how you create the idea and the experience of physical reality. Because I remind you of this very powerful recognition. Everyone, everything, you, us, all beings of any nature, your natural state is spirit. That's where you are right now. Right now. You have never left spirit. That's where you reside. That's your natural state. You are pretending to have left. You are dreaming that you have left. And that is called physical reality. Physical reality is a dream that your greater spirit, a part of your greater spirit, is having right now while you are in spirit. You're there right now. This is why, very often, when people pass on into spirit, you wonder, why don't they come back and say hello? Sometimes they may. But understand, you're there with them. They're not missing you. So the idea is they may show up now and then to remind you that it is only a portion of your spirit in the spirit realm that thinks it's not in the spirit realm anymore. Because that's all physical reality is. It's a projection of your consciousness. It's an illusion for a specific purpose of experiencing yourself in a certain way so that you can forget that you're a spirit, forget what you know, so that you can learn new things and discover new perspectives of yourself so you can change and grow in a very specific way. That is how creation expands. The structure of existence never changes. It is what it is. But your experience of it, your relationship to it, your perspective of it constantly changes. That is how creation grows. So the idea is you are experiencing physical reality and you are learning new perspectives, new discoveries of yourself from new points of view, allowing creation to expand in that way, in its relationship to itself, through all of you, through all of us, through all that is. And that experience is precious because it allows you to experience the process of change, the idea of growth, the idea of discovery, the idea of newness. And that is a precious gift. So, now, how are you actually doing that in physical reality? Well, as I said, you all assume you have a single timeline that goes from your past to your future. In fact, what you're doing is this. You are scanning all of the frames of reference of all the parallel realities that are relevant for the theme that you chose to explore in this life. And you are drawing down and plugging in and unplugging from and connecting to and disconnecting from all the frames and parallel realities that are relevant for this theme. You are constructing, literally, moment to moment, billions of times per second, constructing what appears to be a single timeline made up of frames, one after the other in a certain order, from thousands of parallel reality connections. You are doing this all the time automatically. When you have an inspiration, oh, I just thought of this. It may be coming from a parallel reality person that you're plugging into that is having that experience. And therefore you can get the inspiration because their experience in that particular reality is relevant for the theme you chose to explore in this reality, in this timeline. You're constantly merging with timelines to build the timeline that is relevant to your theme as they are doing with you, drawing upon your experiences, your information to construct their timelines. All of this going on at the same time. That's how powerful you are. You are a multidimensional being. This idea of your physical self is but a fraction of a fragment of what you actually are, of what your greater self actually is. Your soul is multidimensional. The idea that you have created this experience you call physical reality is magical. Some civilizations that are non-physical, some collectives, interdimensional, non-physical beings, sometimes actually have a challenge even imagining how such a thing is possible that you do on a daily basis. They can't imagine limiting themselves in that way. This is why we often refer to you as the masters of limitation. Now, but here's the thing. In your process, you are going from being the masters of limitation to being the masters of limitation, so that you can master how you use the limitations you impose upon your consciousness in ways that will allow you to experience your growth in a fantastically magical way, so that you really start remembering that you're creating this physical reality experience by your collective and individual agreements, by the contracts you have with each other, to serve each other, to reflect to each other what it is you each need to know to become more aware of who you are through this process, to discover a new perspective of yourself and add that experience to your soul, to your greater being, to all that is, to source itself. Because you are all and we are all and everything is reflections and aspects of all that is, experiencing itself in all the ways that it can, in all the ways that it is. Nothing is by accident, it's all an orchestration. Synchronicity permeates everything you experience, whether you know it or not. This is all an orchestration. When you are walking down a street, all the people that you see walking down the street around you are not there by accident. It may be differing in degree of relevance as to what their presence means to you or what your presence means to them, but it's not an accident. You are there because you're serving to support the greater whole picture, to allow someone else or yourself to glean something from the experience of being there at that exact place, at that exact moment in time. The orchestration is amazing, precise, unerring. When you are stuck in one of your so-called traffic jams, it's not by accident that you're there. So take the time to look around. The people that are next to you in their automobiles are not there by accident. Again, it may not necessarily be that relevant for you at that moment, or maybe you are learning some lessons. Here's one example. Again, by being in that traffic jam and not moving forward very quickly, how do you know that 5 miles down the road, if you had been going at full speed, you wouldn't have gotten into an accident that killed you? You don't know. But what you do know is that there's a reason this is happening. And again, it may not necessarily have that much to do with you, but it has to do with you in your willingness to support someone in that grouping who does need to learn something from that experience. That's the willingness to serve that you all have on a higher level. Bring that willingness to serve down to earth, and you will be served as well. As you serve, you are served. It's just like what we have said by analogy. Each and every one of you is like a little puzzle piece. And when you all fit together, you create the big puzzle picture that supports all of the pieces within it as the pieces support the whole. If you are willing to be the puzzle piece the way you were intended to be shaped, the natural shape you are, and not trying to be a different shape that you are not, you will fit with all the other shapes willing to be themselves, and you will create a harmonious whole. Remember, unity and harmony are not the product of being homogeneous. Unity and harmony are the product of validating the differences that each of you beautifully are, so that all the differences fit together and create the whole picture. Diversity is the key. So the idea in being diverse as beings, in drawing from the diversity of multiple parallel dimensions of experience and reality to create your path in this life, is what's going on all the time. You are the product of infinite diversity every single moment. Billions of times per second are you redefining yourself. Literally billions of times per second are you going back to zero, Whatever the definition is in the next moment is what your reality is, changing the future and the past. Every single moment, billions of times per second. You are that free to go to zero and redefine yourself every moment. When you collectively gather and you have an agreement that you are in this powerful electromagnetic vortex that can act as an amplifier and a reflector and a magnifier for the energies that you bring into it, you have to understand, based on what we're telling you now, yes, in a sense, you can say, well, yes, Sedona is a vortex. You are the vortex. You are creating the energy. It is representative of your collective agreement about what you're truly capable of. What you're truly capable of creating with each other by serving each other and reflecting to each other what you truly need. There's that word again. What you truly need to be yourselves, to have a life of fulfillment and a life of joy. You deserve it. You're worth it. Do remember, all of you are worthy by the fact that you exist, because creation doesn't make mistakes. And if you exist, that means you're worthy of existence. It means creation needs you to exist for it to be all that it is. Those of you who might have experienced the idea of believing in your lack of worth, you're arguing with creation, and you will never win that argument because you cannot stop existing. So, don't keep pounding your head against the wall. I'm unworthy, I'm not deserving. Because creation will never acknowledge that. Ever. You cannot stop existing. Existence is your natural state. There is no room in non-existence for anything that exists. Non-existence is already full of all the things that will never exist. I'll put it another way. Listen carefully to the definition. Non-existence is its quality. That means non-existence doesn't exist. Existence exists. Non-existence doesn't exist. That's its primary quality, to not exist. So there's nowhere for you to go. You may change your form, but you cannot stop existing. That is your natural quality. It's the quality of existence itself. And what you call, what you experience as unconditional love is just your way of recognizing the actual frequency of existence. That's its core frequency, what you call unconditional love and support. You are constantly unconditionally supported by existence in whatever way you say is true for you. Fear-based, you're supported in it. Joy-based, you're supported in it. Because the support is what? Unconditional. Look that up in your dictionaries. It means no condition, none, zero. What you say goes. It's in your control. It's in your hands. Your greatest power is the freedom to choose. So choose who it is you prefer to be. Act in the way you prefer to act. Be the living example for others, to give them the option, the choice, the opportunity to see that there may be a more joyful way to live. It doesn't mean they have to buy into it. It doesn't mean they have to match your frequency. But at least give them the choice. Maybe someday they will remember the living example you provided and go, oh, I get it now. I can apply that in my life. Not that they have to. Again, remember, whatever you share when it's appropriate to share, whatever someone else does with that is none of your business. Because you don't know their path. You don't know what they have determined they need to experience to get where they're going. But just give them the option. Give them the choice. Let them decide when and where and how to use it. Remember, there's no rush. There's no hurry. You're all eternal, infinite beings. No hurry. Somewhere, somehow, somewhen, you'll get it. You don't have to get it now, but you can choose to. It's up to you. I guarantee you that when you do, your lives will be a lot smoother, a lot more joyful, a lot more creative, a lot more loving, and a lot more serving of all that is, that allows all that is to reflect that service back to you. So, the parallel realities that you constantly connect into, the other dimensions you become aware of, the other versions of your greater being that are living out their lives along with you simultaneously, side by side or overlapping, if you wish to put it that way, are there for you to mine as you need to, as they give to you and they serve you and you serve them by providing them more experience, more information, more energy, so they can draw from you what they need as you draw from them what you need. So we're talking about service across multiple realities. Service across multiple dimensions is your